guys! Thanks for visiting my channel today. I thought I would bring you along today as I make Blackberry Hot Pepper Jam. Now I realize that it is January and it seems kind of an odd thing to be making this time of year, but I found that my local grocery store, which is Meijer, somewhere between the end of November and the beginning of January, they have a great sale on blackberries every year, and I take advantage of that. You can get the 6-ounce containers of blackberries that are normally, if they're not on sale, they're between $4 and $5 a container. Sometimes if they run a normal sale on them, you can get 2 containers for $6. Well, this time of year they have these for 99 cents a container. So what I do is I purchase several flats and then use them to make jams or jellies, pie filling, and then I can it up, and so I have it anytime I need it on hand. And it's all handmade and really delicious to enjoy throughout the year. So what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to make the Blackberry Hot Pepper Jam, and then I'm going to show you how to can it up, and then I'm going to show you a really fun and delicious appetizer that you can make using the jam. If you've not ever had jam that has hot peppers in it, it's kind of that spicy sweet thing going on, and you can use it for a lot of different things. If you like hot food, it's great to use just like you would any normal jam or jelly. You can put it on toast, peanut butter and jelly, biscuits, that kind of thing. But I found it's really nice to make this special appetizer I'm going to show you, and also you can use it, you can put some in your favorite barbecue sauce to jazz it up a little bit and change things up. It's great for grilling meat. All kinds of fun ways to use it. I've even seen recipes. I've not tried this yet, but it is on my list to do, to use it to make grilled cheese. The recipe I saw, they put it on the inside of their bread and then did the cheese and grilled it up, and it looks absolutely delicious. So I'm dying to try that as well. But anyway, I thought it'd be fun to get out of the January and winter blues and enjoy a little taste of summer, and I thought I'd bring you along with me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring you in close so you can see what's going on. Now we are going to water bath can this, which is not hard, and actually jams or jellies are a really fun way to start canning if you're not a canner. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Now I have sterilized my jars, which means I've boiled them for 10 minutes and I'm keeping them hot in my water bath canner while we go ahead and make our jam. So let's get started. Okay guys, here we go. What we're going to do is we're going to take, I've got 4 cups of blackberries that I've washed and drained, and then I've crushed. So our recipe calls for 4 cups of prepared berries. And I don't think I mentioned, but I am making a low sugar version today, kind of trying to cut out some of the high sugar items or reduce the sugar a little bit in our diet. So we're going to do low sugar today. On my board here, I'm going to add to my berries, this was 2 large jalapeños that I finely chopped. Now this is going to be up to you. You could use habanero if you want, or whatever kind of pepper that you like. I don't like things that are super hot, so I'm using jalapeno, and I tasted it and it wasn't super, they were not really hot peppers. So I used 2 large, and I left the seeds in the membranes, which is where a lot of the heat resides. So it's up to you how much heat you want. If you have really hot jalapenos, you may just want to use 1. If you like it super spicy, you can use 3 or so. So it's just kind of up to you and the heat level of whatever type of pepper you're using. I know a lot of people love habanero, and I like them. I prefer jalapeno, the heat of the jalapeno. So I'm using jalapeno today, but feel free to use whatever type of pepper you want to add heat to your jam. And I don't think I mentioned, but to crush my berries, I just used a potato masher. And so anyway, we've got 4 cups of berries in there. We've got 2 jalapeños, and to that, my recipe, I'm just using the ball jam recipe, said to add water or unsweetened fruit juice. I have apple juice on hand, so I'm going to add 1 cup of apple juice for this recipe. And what we're going to do is I'm going to crank my heat up, and we're going to get that on high. And what we want to do is we want to bring this up to a boil that cannot be stirred down. And before we get to that, I almost forgot, we need to add our pectin. Now the pectin I'm using is no or low sugar pectin. If you prefer to use full sugar, just make sure you use the pectin that's just for regular jam. This one very specifically says low or no sugar jam. They're formulated differently. And we need to add 5 tablespoons to this amount of fruit. You want to kind of stir it as you add it, and you should put this in before it gets hot. And if this recipe is going to give us the equivalent of 6 8-ounce jelly jars. Now I am going to use some of the little guys this size. They're 4 ounces. And I'm going to use some 8-ounce jars. The reason why I'm going to use the little ones is because these are the perfect size to do the appetizer that I'm going to be showing you later on in the video. So I'd like to have these on hand, so when I want to make just that appetizer and don't necessarily want extra jam in my fridge, because the hot pepper jam is not something that you would eat every day. It's more of a special occasion thing for most people. So I'm doing some in the 4-ounce jars, because that will be perfect to add to barbecue sauce or to make this appetizer that I'm going to show you. So we're going to do a combination of jar sizes, but this recipe will make the equivalent of 6 8-ounce jelly jars. So what we're going to do now is, like I said, I've cranked up my heat, and we're going to bring this up to a boil that cannot be stirred down, and that's going to take a little bit of time here. So I'm going to be turning the camera on and off. I'm sure you don't want to sit here and watch it that long. So I'm going to turn the camera off now and let this get nice and hot. And once it starts to bubble up, I'm going to bring you back and show you how we finish it off. Super simple. Jams are really, really easy to do. So I'll bring you back in a few. Okay guys, we are about 5 minutes into bringing this up to temperature, and you can see that it's starting to bubble up around the edges, but that is not boiling enough. We need it boiling so much that when you stir it, you can't stir down the boiling. So we're gonna keep going here, giving it a stir every now and then until we get our full rolling boil that cannot be stirred down. Once we get to that point, we're going to add a cup of sugar, let it boil for 1 minute, and then we're ready to jar it up. So once we get closer to that point, I'll bring you back. Okay guys, we're up to, obviously, to a full boil, and when you stir it, it still boils. So that's what you're looking for. If you don't let it come up to this amount of full boil, your jam will not set up. So it's really important that you bring it up to a full boil, that when you stir it, it is still boiling. And I'm pretty sure we're at that point. So what we're going to do now is we are going to add our sugar. Just give this one more stir. And while you're waiting it to come up to a full boil like this, you can just stir occasionally. Once we add our sugar, you want to stir constantly. Bring it up to a boil, a full boil for 1 minute. And it's still boiling as I'm stirring, so we're good. So we're going to add our sugar and stir that in. bring it up to another full boil. Take a minute or two to get it up to temperature, and then we're gonna let it boil for a full minute. Okay guys, welcome back. I added the sugar and then brought it back up to a full rolling boil and let it boil for 1 minute, and now we're ready to jar it up. Now if you don't want to can it, that's fine. You can just put it in your jars and let it come to room temperature, and then put your lids on, and you can, Ball says that to use it within 3 weeks if you keep it in the fridge. I think it's probably good for longer than that, but you can use your own discretion. So if you're not going to use this full batch, you can obviously adjust the recipe to make less if you want to, or give some away as gifts, or just make all kinds of recipes that you would use it for within a month or so. So here we go. This is the same water I use to sterilize my jars. So I'm just going to, I've kept the water warm. I kept it on low, which you're supposed to do with your jars. So I sterilized them, and now we're ready to go. We need a 1/4 inch headspace for jam. So we're going to use our funnel and fill our jars to about 1/4 inch. And headspace just refers to how much space you have between your lid and the product that's in your jar. And I got that one a little too full. So, adventures in canning. So I'm going to scoop some of it out. Is you definitely want to have that. I know 1/4 inch isn't very much, but you definitely want to have a 1/4 inch headspace. Okay, there we go. And fill the second one. And then take a paper towel, and you're going to wipe off the rim of your jar so there's nothing to interfere with your seal. And then we're going to debubble. And I should have done that before I wiped the rim. There we go. And then get your lid. And I have mine soaking in hot water. I washed them and let them soak in hot water. And then you're going to add your band to fingertip tight. And we're going to put them back on our rack. Your water bath canner should have a rack that fits in it. And I really don't like my rack very well. It doesn't hold the smaller jars very well, I don't think. And then I'm going to get 2 more jars. And here's one of the little guys I was telling you I was going to use. And fill them up to 1/4 inch. I'm going to finish filling my jars and crank up the heat in my water bath canner, and then I'll bring you back. Okay guys, welcome back. I've got my water bath canner going. I have done some tutorials on water bath canning, so I'll just briefly go over what I did. You want to make sure your water covers your jars by 1 inch to 2 inches. Submerge them, crank up the heat, bring it up to a full rolling boil, and we're going to process them for 10 minutes, and that's what we've got going on right now. We're in the middle of processing them. Once my 10 minutes are up, I'm going to turn my heat off, and let the jar sit for, and remove the lid. Let the jar sit for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to remove them from the water bath canner, and then our jam will be all finished. I did want to mention that when you are cooking your jam, make sure you're cooking on high heat. If you do not have your heat on high, it'll take too long for your jam to get up to temperature, to that rolling boil, and too much of your liquid will evaporate and you won't get as much jam, and it won't be quite the right consistency. So it's really important that you have your heat on high when you're cooking your jam. So I don't know if I mentioned that, but I thought I would make sure that I did bring that to your attention. So anyway, I'm going to finish processing. I'll bring you back, and then I'll show you the really good appetizer I was telling you about that you can use this jam to make. Welcome back. We are all finished. My jars processed for 10 minutes. I let them sit in the water with the lid off of my water bath canner for 5 minutes, and then I went ahead and removed them, and we're all done. Now, I promised you a really fun and delicious appetizer, and on top of that, it's super duper easy. So here it is. All you do is take a brick of cream cheese, let it soften to room temperature, and then put your beautiful jam across the top. And it's great on crackers or the little bagel chips to dip in it. Absolutely delicious. And look how beautiful those colors are. You've got the beautiful dark purple color from those wonderful sweet raspberries, and then just a little bit of heat from the jalapeno. I did mention my jalapenos were not that hot, so it's just got a little teeny tiny kick to it in the background. But if you want to really spice it up, add a habanero or any of those hotter peppers that you might enjoy. But see how pretty? It's a super duper easy appetizer. Great for parties or get-togethers, or if you just want something special for your family. Easy and really, really delicious, and you made it yourself. So good on a buttery cracker. You've got the creaminess from the cream cheese, the sweetness from the blackberries, and then just that tiny bit of heat in the background from the jalapeno. Really, really nice. So I hope you'll give this a try. Making jam is not hard. Like I said, if you can boil water, technically you can make jam because it's really just about boiling. Water bath canning is super, super simple as well. Just certain instructions that anyone can follow to do the canning, but if you don't want to do the canning, still go ahead and make your jam. And like I said, there are lots of recipes from the Ball website, and even on the pectin jar, you can make small batches of it that you can use up quicker, since you're not canning it, and it won't have an extended shelf life. You can also make freezer jam. They make pectins that you can use to make jams that store in your freezer, so you don't have to water bath can. Everyone's got a freezer. You can just go ahead and make it with the right pectin and store it in your freezer until you're ready to use it. Jams and jellies are easy to do and really great to have on hand. And with the newer pectins that they have out, you can control the sugar. They even have recipes for no sugar if you want to go that route. This time, typically I do the full sugar recipe, but I wanted to give a lighter version a try. My son's been on the keto diet, so he's been kind of nudging me to get rid of some of the sugar in our diet, which we don't eat a lot of processed foods, and we don't eat a ton of sugar, but obviously I do love to bake and I do love to cook, so we do have some sugar in our diet. That's probably not necessary, so I thought I would give the low sugar recipe a try, and it turned out pretty well. So I'm pretty pleased with that. But anyway, whatever route you want to go, for full sugar, low sugar, no sugar, it's entirely up to you. You should still give jam a try. So I encourage you to do that. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of the more fun recipes coming up, and some other things I've been thinking about doing, and I hope you'll join me. Thanks for coming along with me today, and I appreciate you watching, and I hope you go out and have a great day. Bye-bye. See you next time.